Summary of the Piano Lesson by August Wilson. Doker Charles, his niece Bernice, and her little daughter Meretha are the characters of the piano lesson, which takes place in the town of Pittsburgh. It's 1936. The Charleses are an African-American family from rural Mississippi. They brought with them a beautiful upright piano with designs that look like African masks. Boy Willie, Bernice's brother, and Lyman, his friend, come over to the house at 5 in the morning. They came from Mississippi with a truck full of watermelons that they want to sell. Boy Willie tells him that Sutter, the owner of the farm where the Charles family used to be slaves, has died. People say that the ghosts of the yellow dog pushed Sutter into a well. Bernice thinks this story is made up and doesn't trust the business of young guys in Pittsburgh. She goes back to bed after telling them to sell their watermelons quickly. Lyman tells Doker that he wants to stay in Pittsburgh and begin a new life. What about Boy Willie? He wants to sell the family piano to save money for the land that the late Sutter owned. He tells Boy Willie that Bernice won't go along with this plan. At that very moment, they hear Bernice yelling from upstairs. Then she runs into the room and says she saw Sutter's ghost upstairs. She then says Boy Willie killed Sutter. It's not true, says Boy Willie. He says Sutter is probably bothering her because of the piano, which is a sign that she should get rid of it. Soon after, Avery Brown, Bernice's boyfriend, stops by and tells Boy Willie and Lyman that he wants to become a preacher and start a church. After a few days, Doker's brother Whining Boy, who used to be a singer but has since failed, comes to visit. Lyman and Boy Willie, who still haven't sold their watermelons, talk to Whining Boy about their time in prison on Mississippi's Parchman Farm. The men were chased by the local police because they had stolen some wood after they got out of jail. Crawley, Bernice's husband, was shot and killed in the fight. After that, Lyman was jailed for not working. The judge made him work for a white man named Stovall to pay his bail, but Lyman refused to do so and started hiding in his truck instead. He also tells Lyman about the history of the family piano during the same talk. A Sutter ancestor exchanged two Charles family members, Boy Willie and Bernice's great-grandmother Mama Bernice and grandfather Papa Boy Charles, for the piano as a gift for his wife Ophelia Sutter. This happened back when the Sutter family owned the Charles family as slaves. But Ophelia missed her slaves, so Charles's great-grandfather Papa Boy Willie carved pictures of his wife and son into the piano so Ophelia could remember them. He also made pictures of other family members and events that happened in the family. After a few generations, Boy Charles, the father of Boy Willie and Bernice, was crazy about the Sutter piano and how, by having it, the Sutters still owned a piece of the Charles family. His brothers, Whining Boy and Doker, helped him steal the piano. Even though they were successful, Boy Charles was found and burned to death in a boxcar. This is the reason Bernice still won't sell the piano. Boy Willie is sure that his father would have thought it was a good idea for him to sell the piano if he knew that he could buy land. He and Bernice fight about this, and Bernice also blames him for Crawley's death. Their talk is cut short by Meretha's screams. She thinks she saw Sutter's ghost upstairs. Avery comes over that night just as Bernice is about to take a bath. He's making progress on his plans to open a church, and he wants Bernice to marry him. Bernice says she's not ready, and she doesn't like how Avery keeps telling her she needs someone to care for her. It's not possible for Avery to keep Crawley's memory or the sad feelings connected to the piano with her forever. Avery agrees to come over tomorrow to try to bless the house and hopefully get rid of Sutter's ghost, even though Bernice keeps saying no. Boy Willie and Lyman finally sell their watermelons that night, so they go out on the town to find women and spend some money. While Boy Willie is drunk, he comes back with a woman named Grace. Bernice hears their noise and kicks them out. When Lyman gets home soon after, he and Bernice talk about Lyman's job possibilities and his hopes to find a nice woman to share his new life with. He and Bernice kiss and then go their separate ways for the night. Girl Willie wakes up Lyman the next morning to tell him that he's going to sell the piano to a white guy who collects them. He and Lyman try hard but fail to move the heavy piano toward the truck. Doker, who has mostly avoided Boy Willie's fight with Bernice, tells them to stop what they're doing. Later, Bernice and Boy Willie get into another fight because Boy Willie wants to sell the piano. Boy Willie tells Bernice that she is putting Mertha at a disadvantage by not telling her about the past of the piano, which would give Mertha something to be proud of. For Bernice, he says that selling the piano is just his way of leaving his mark on the world, just like their father did. Avery soon comes to bless the house, and Lyman comes with rope to help load the piano at the same time. With Crawley's gun in his hand, Bernice tells Boy Willie that he won't be taking the piano anywhere. Bernice tells Avery to start the house blessing as soon as everyone feels Sutter's ghost. Boy Willie had been making fun of Sutter's ghost by calling out to it, but as Avery starts to pray and read from the Bible, the ghost starts to choke and throw Boy Willie around. It's impossible to help Avery, and Bernice knows all of a sudden what she needs to do. She sits down and plays the piano for the first time in a long time. She asks her parents and other relatives to help her. When the house finally feels calm again, Bernice says prayers to her ancestors to thank them. Boy Willie decides at the last minute not to sell the piano but to take a train home to Mississippi instead. As he leaves, he tells Bernice that he and Sutter's ghost might come back if she and Mertha don't keep playing the piano.
About the author. Wilson was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in the Hill District. His full name is Frederick August Kittle, Jr. Daisy Wilson, August Wilson's mother, was African American, and Frederick Kittle, his father, was from Sudeten, Germany. Wilson's parents split up when he was young, and he and his 5 brothers moved in with their mother in Pittsburgh. They lived in poor black and Jewish neighborhoods. Wilson has always felt very connected to his mother's black culture and background. As one of only a few African American students at his Catholic school, he had to deal with racism. He finally quit to study at the Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh. As Wilson was 20 years old, his father died. He changed his name to August Wilson and started writing. After a few years, he helped start the Black Horizon Theater in Pittsburgh. Wilson tried writing poems at first, but when he moved to St. Paul, Minnesota, in 1978, he switched to writing plays instead. His first one, Jitney, was done in 1979. After 8 years, Fences won both the Pulitzer Prize and the Tony Award. The next year, The Piano Lesson did the same and won another Pulitzer. The Pittsburgh Cycle is a collection of 10 of Wilson's most famous and well-reviewed plays. Each play is about a different decade in the life of an African American. He died of cancer in 2005.
Hope we summarized it fully and you liked it. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that we are motivated to create more videos.